Hey everybody, welcome back to part 3 of the series. I'm upgrading the TT-02RR, getting it ready for club racing. In part 1, I went over all the parts that I'm going to be using for the series. And then in part 2, I disassembled the front and rear gearboxes, the diff covers, and rebuilt both the front and the rear diffs, and here they are. Today I'm going to go ahead and work on the drive shaft, and the drive shaft consists of this is a 3-piece drive shaft. This is a TT-02RR, so it's an aluminum drive shaft, and there's a rear gear holder with the spur gear, and then there is the shaft itself. It's a pretty long dog bone, and then also the gear that goes to the front diff, the shaft that goes to the front diff, and that right now is being captured by 2 screws. So let me go ahead and get started and take that out. There's one. And here's the other 2. Here's the second one. Okay. Let's see. So that, let me pull this a little closer to the camera. This little piece here holds down the gear. And that's it. And here is the front of the drive shaft. Just the gear and 2 bearings. And like I've been doing in the previous video and everything I've talked about, we will be shimming this so that there's a lot less play, re-greasing it, cleaning where it's applicable, and rebuilding the entire drive shaft. And while we're here, while I have the back half of the drive shaft, I'm going to go ahead and replace the spur gear and make it, this is currently a 68 tooth spur gear. I'm going to change that into a 64. And if you need a part number, I have that in the first video, and I also have it right here. That's not it. Let's see, here it is. Part number is 51356. I got it from my local hobby store. They had it in stock. So let's go ahead and take off that gear, take off that bearing. This comes off when the gear is off. So there's 4 screws. Oh, just came right off. All right, so there is a pin right here. I've got to be careful. All right, and there's 4 screws. So in order for me to change out the spur gear, I do need to take this off. I'm going to be gentle with it. And in case I don't remember the sequence or which direction the gear goes back in together, I have the manual open behind the car here on the monitor behind, and I can reference that if needed. Okay, there's the gear. Let's go ahead and open this. Let's see. All right, okay. Let's see if that fits in there. Should do just fine. And let's line up the screw holes. Okay, and reinstall the screws. Pretty close. Let's try again. All right, let's see. Okay. There's one. Again, I'm going to go in a crisscross pattern so that the 4 screws seat evenly across the spur gear and there isn't any extra pressure on one screw or the other. So let me go ahead and start back on the first one and across, and then sideways and back across. Let me just give every screw just a little quarter turn. There we go. That's it. Okay, I'm gonna put this away. And let's see, I do want to take this pin out because I want to get to that bearing. Another thing we're doing is replacing all the bearings and shimming as we go. And I will reassemble this after we place it so I can shim it. But I don't want to guess what size or which direction I need to put the shim in, so I just want to reassemble everything the way it was. There we go. There's one bearing. Let me see. Okay, the bearings are right here. And the bearings for this particular, for the TT-02 axle are 5x11 by 4 millimeter. And these are DSM off-road bearings. Alright. So I believe one went in. All the way in. Try to remember to stay in the shot. Let's see. Just clean that right off. And then this little sleeve. Goes in, and then the pin. And then the spur gear. And then another new bearing. Let me make sure that was a new bearing. Yep, that was a new bearing. Put that one away. The other one's right here. Here's the other old bearing. And then it was the gear. So here it is. Here is the rear of the drive shaft with the new 64 tooth spur gear ready to go. So that goes to here, to the back. You can see that. Let's zoom in a little bit. And this is kind of what I'm going to try to eliminate here. You can see there is a lot of movement here. There's a lot of movement that I want to kind of eliminate. Let's see if I can get any closer so you can see that even better. So from looking at it from here, I believe it needs a shim right over here to the right side of the first bearing right here. And the back, let me try that first. Let me put a bearing right there and see how that is. So let's do that. And I'm going to try this thinnest bearing that we have. Okay. So I do need to disassemble this. And I believe I wanted to put it right there. No, I want to put it right here. So let's go ahead and put that in there. And the shim size is going to be I believe it's going to be the 5mm, 5mm shims. And these are going to be, I'm going to start with the 0.1 thickness 5mm shim. Let's see if that's the correct size, or if that works. All right, let's see. There we go. Oops. Let's see. Okay, I dropped one in there. If you can see that. If you guys can see the shim, this is the shim right here. Right over here. All right. So let's put this back together. Okay. Alrighty. This way. All right, and looks like there's still some, oops, I forgot a bearing right there. But either way, it looks like I still need to shim a little bit more. All right. Okay. So that 0.1 wasn't enough. Let me try to put another one right here. Actually, no, I think it should be right here. So let me put another one. Let me actually take that one out and put a 0.3 and see how that is. All right, so I'm going to take that one off. Easier said than done. There it is. And here are the 0.3s. There are the 0.3s. And let's get one. And give that a shot. Bearing and the gear. Okay, see how that feels. All right, not bad. That's a lot better. There's a lot less play, but I think I can do just a little bit better. Let me try one on the other side of this bearing, because I don't want to. I want a bearing on, let me put a shim on the other side of this bearing. I don't want to put too many stacked together, and 0.3 was my thickest one. So let's try that again. And this is, if you were doing the same thing, this is kind of the process you have to go through. It's just, you know, trial and error. You can do your best to measure, but until you put a shim in there, it's really hard to tell what's going to happen. And for some reason, it's really hard to get through that hole. Okay, there we go. Let me grab a 0.2. I'm afraid to put a 0.3 in there. It might start binding. So here's a 0.2. If you're curious where these shims, where I bought these shims, these are Kyosho brand shims, and I'm sure other companies make it. I'm sure Team Associated has shims in various sizes. I'm sure Kyosho is not the only ones making these. Get whatever is available in your area. Alrighty. let's see. Okay, let me get that in there, and then where did that one go? Alrighty. Nope, it's already there. They're so small I didn't see it. Okay, so I have a 0.2 on this side and I have a 0.3 on that side. And I have to find the sleeve. Oh, here it is. It's hiding from me. This pin is getting harder to go in because the sleeve is getting closer and closer, so it's starting to block that pin. But I managed to get it in. Just need to center it. There we go. Here's another. And let's take a look. Oh, there you go. I've pretty much taken the slop out of the first bearing right there. Let me see if I can do the same to that second one because I really want to minimize movement. Put one right there. Put the bearing back on. Oops. All right, let's see. Wow, a huge difference. Look at that. Nothing at all. It's just solid. There's no play at all. This is terrific. This is going to put all the power of the motor to the spur gear and transfer it directly onto the gears without losing any without losing any of the energy to rattling or just this slop that it had. So that was worthwhile. So I'm going to end the video here because I'm going to be doing exactly the same in the front. I'm just going to be cleaning these this dog bone and re-greasing it according to manual. And after the last video is almost an hour long, I don't want to make another hour-long video. I want to make these videos reasonably short and entertaining and informative. So that's the process I went through to first install the 64 tooth pinion, and second to shim this to take away the play that it had when I first built this kit. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. If you have any tips for me, you know, I'm not an expert in this. But if you do have any tips on this, how to shim a diff or a drive shaft, please leave it below. Anybody else who may be new to RC may watch this video, may read your comment. So I really appreciate it. And if you did enjoy this video, that you learned something, please give it a thumbs up. And subscribe to my channel. There's going to be new videos every day this week as I work on this project. So thanks for watching.